Okay, so we are good to start now. We are around 4 minutes past 7:30. If people need to join late, they can join late if they want to. However, they may miss the first parts of the lesson. So you can see that many people are trickling in now. Wonderful. And yeah, I guess we can just get straight into our future speech class. Welcome to our 6th class of Futural Speech, and thank you guys for participating for today. So the first things on our agenda will be to take attendance for the participants today. So starting off with the first speaker, Ethan. Is Ethan L here today?
Here.
All right, wonderful. Do we have James Z? It's not. Okay, yes, we have James. James, your microphone is a little bit quiet, so be sure to kind of fix that a little bit. Now that it's starting, I'll make it a host-only chat. And our next. Okay, so the next person for our attendance is Evan. Evan, are we here today?
Here.
All right, wonderful. Jerry W.
Here.
Okay, ID.
Here.
Wonderful. Do we have Luke?
Here.
Wonderful. Do we have Kelly?
Here.
Terrific. Sarah, do we have Sarah?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Do we have Jeremy?
Of course.
Wonderful. Oh, I'm just looking in chat right now. Yes, there is a little bit of annotation, so I'll be sure to clear that up. Okay. Do we have Tyler?
Here.
Very nice. Do we have Aurora?
Here.
Very good. Do we have Lucas?
Here.
Wonderful. Do we have Ethan? Ethan W. Does not look like we have Ethan W today. Okay. Do we have Beavis?
Here.
Yes. Wondering why they can still annotate, because I have disabled that. I'll also show the names of annotators so they don't stay anonymous. Do we have Tiani today?
Here.
Wonderful. Do we have Alexis?
Here.
Very good. Do we have Cyrus?
Here.
Excellent. Do we have Cynthia?
Here.
Terrific. Do we have Nancy?
Here.
Excellent. And finally, Edward. Do we have Edward today?
I remember last time some of the students who weren't speaking were replaced by the students who wanted to speak.
All right. I have to keep on using the updated list, so I keep on using the old ones. Edwards is replaced by Raymond. Okay, very good. Raymond. Excellent. Okay, so we're only missing one person today, which will be Ethan W. Okay, so so now that we're done with attendance, we can get on with our lesson. So today, again, we're going over impromptu skills. And last week, I kind of made the decision, because there is so much to cover in impromptu, we're not actually going to be having any classes for prose or any classes for original oratory. However, because these classes are only going to be for impromptu, if you guys want to sign up for the next semester, I will talk more about original oratory and prose there. So if you're still interested, be sure to sign up for the next semester. Once this semester is over, we'll cross that bridge on how to sign up when we come to it. So yeah, just to be kind of aware that we're mostly talking about impromptu for today. Okay. So, continuing on impromptu skills, last week we did finish our rhetorics. So the pathos, ethos, kairos, and logos. So we finished those last week, and the next thing that we're going to be learning today will be a little bit of the tidbits of impromptu. So the tidbits can include things like just like how to do a good speech in general, which we kind of covered already, so we're not going to be reviewing that, but just the tidbits of impromptu, that's quite important. I wonder why they can still annotate. It might be broken.
No, I can't annotate.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Or like if it's on the screen, it should show annotation, but it doesn't show it.
Yeah, that is strange.
I can't annotate either.
Okay, that's strange.
Eddie,
Yes?
I don't know why, but I'm able to annotate and I'm not able to turn it off because you disabled it.
That is strange.
Yeah.
Okay. Zoom is very broken right now, so, just kind of keep that in mind that Zoom is bad. Well, not bad, but just kind of glitched and not very reliable. Yeah, see, there goes the dots again.
I told you it in chat and now I'm not able to turn off chat.
I'm not able to turn off chat.
So
Yeah,
the
Zoom has a
tab
little bit of an
is-
issue.
Damn, Zoom is very broken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so a few examples of the tidbits we will learn is the problem solution format, because that's very important through our speech tournaments and how to do a good speech, because the problem solution format, you guys know the structure of it, but you don't know the nitty gritty things about it. And then we're going to be talking about note taking. So a lot of people like to write down a lot of stuff, however, they can't finish it in time for their preparation. So today we'll be going over how to take effective note taking. So the things in big and black is the things that we'll be going over today. So the problem solution format and note taking. The other nitty gritty stuff is audience interaction, very important. How to tell a good story, differences between debate and speech, how to be memorable, and kind of how you can, how the tournament kind of goes, or how a contest kind of goes. So yeah, today we're mostly going to be talking about the problem solution format and note taking. So on to our problem solution format, a very quick review. So remember that all formats will start with a hook, and we all remember, or should remember, the hooks can either be a question, a shocking fact, or a story. And I used to tell you guys to always do story. However, if you're not as good as telling stories, I would recommend actually sticking with the questions or that, because sometimes the stories have to be very extraordinary stories or extremely well-told stories. However, if you tell it in a very bland way, it can actually be detrimental. So for this, I'd actually, well, first of all, identify whether your topic is more logical, more inspirational. logical ones, you should stick to like the shocking fact, and questions work for everything. All right, so, and then we have the niceties. Some judges won't care about niceties, but some will. I used to not use niceties. I just went straight from the hook to my speech. But then they say, oh, what are you talking about? Oh, what's your name? Even though in a speech tournament, you're going to write your name on the board, or you're going to write the topic on the board, they're still going to ask you for niceties. So that's just kind of a niche little thing, but just keep in mind that this is quite necessary. So then we have a problem, like what's a problem in the world? And then we have a cause, like what is this cause? Like how is this problem caused? And then we have a solution, then a visualization, like, oh, if we implement the solution, what will happen? And then conclusion or call to action. So ladies and gentlemen, do this. So that's just kind of a quick review of the pros and cons format. So notice how this and this will kind of be interchangeable, cause and visualization. If you use cause, don't do visualization. If you use visualization, don't do cause. This is because we want to stick to the three, and you're not going to have time to do both. So visualization or cause. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, just a very quick review of the problem solution format, we can go on to note-taking. So today is going to be more of a special class where you guys can get to see more of the behind the scenes look on how I do speeches. So first comes a lesson, but on a demonstration, I'll first present my speech, and then I'll go with you step by step how I constructed my notes. So today will be a bit more behind the scenes like this. We will be going back to this slide later to be when I'm doing my demonstration for note-taking. So first of all, it's approach to speech. So an approach to speech like this is going to be, so what I say here is an approach to speech. And what I'm saying is that how you should approach to make a speech. So the first step in approach to note-taking is to identify the topic as inspirational, persuasive, or controversial. So when we have a quotation, it's usually going to be inspirational. So a good amount of quotes that I've seen are by very influential people, and those people have these quotes, and they're mostly going to be inspirational. As sometimes we have seen, we can see that one quote says, oh, people who are happy will make other people happy too. That's a quote, and it's inspirational. Or if not me, then who? If not now, then when? That's more inspirational to act. So quotations will be usually very inspirational. So if you have a quotation, inspiration.
Andy?
Yes?
I feel like the most inspirational quote I know is, what is that? I don't know, like creativity or something, like imagination is more like important than knowledge.
Yeah, that's a good quote. However, we can kind of interpret that quote both ways. We can go against and for it. So for quotes like that, we can also kind of put some controversy or persuasiveness on it. So remember that this is just like rules of thumb, which means that quotation is usually going to be inspirational, but we can also format it into different. So you have to use kind of your brain to identify whether it's inspirational, persuasive, or controversial. So I have people in the chat who want to go for a second, third. Remember that once I'm done my demonstration, then we can go vote and stuff like that. So when we have one-word topics, we're gonna have all three different types. So a good one that I gave is risk. Risk can both be persuasive, controversial, and inspirational. Inspirational is people are not taking enough risk. Persuasive is take more risks, please. And controversial is the pros and cons of risk. And then we have a question, which is going to be either controversial or persuasive. So a question can be something like, are zoos beneficial for animals? So you can either persuade them for one side or argue both sides of the argument and say the pros and cons. So this is basically, these are all just rules of thumb. Note that you can always format these into a different topic. You can interpret a question as inspirational if you really want. You can interpret a quotation as controversial, and you can always use one-word topics as all three. So remember, these are just kind of rules of thumb. The thing that it really boils down to is like your logic sense and how you're going to kind of present it in that, how you're going to present it and what you want to present. So say that you had an inspirational topic, but you really excel in controversial topics. You can kind of format it that way. Yeah, so that's basically it. We're gonna try to go a bit faster these classes so we don't go over time today, especially because this is going to be more of a packed class for problem solution. So if we have time today, we can play a game if you guys really want, but these classes are a lot of information, so we're probably going to use that most of the time. Okay, so the first step for approaching note-taking is to identify a topic as inspirational, persuasive, or controversial. The second step you want to do is choose a format and a tone. Whoops. Okay, so when we think of a format and a tone, we always want to kind of find a format that matches our goal of our speech and a tone that matches our goal of the speech. So inspirational, persuasive, controversial, all three are goals. And you want a format that supports them. So problem solution will be inspirational or persuasive. Inspirational and persuasive are going to be you argue a point and you're on either the right side or the left side, because calling something a problem means that you're on one side. Like you can't say something like, oh, it's a problem, but we shouldn't really solve it. That just doesn't work out. And you can't really say something very controversial, such as something controversial. The existence of cats is a big problem. So we can't say something like that in a controversy when the topic something like dogs or cats. So we have to choose something that's relative to our goal of our speech. So that's format. And if we remember our formats, we have the topical format, which is like one format fits all. We have the problem solution. We have the cause and effect, which is like a sub-branch of problem solution. We have pros and cons, basically used exclusively for controversial. And we have basically our other topics that are kind of like hybrids where you can kind of mix them together. So that's for choosing a format and tone. I understand that some people still might not get tone. Like, what is tone? How should we use it? Tone is basically opposed to intonation. Tone is more of your emotion, right? So intonation is varying the pitch. Tone is kind of your emotion. So you can vary your pitch but not be happy, but you can be happy without varying your pitch. So they're completely different. Inspirational tone, we usually either use happiness. You want to kind of vary it between sadness and happiness, be either very sad at the start and then change to happy. So when you're talking about the problem, you can be sad, but when you're talking about the solution, you can be happy. For controversial, you want to be more of a knowledgeable tone. Whoops, my slide is glitching. And for like persuasive ones, we want to also have more of a knowledgeable, more serious type of tone. So tone is more used for more emotional parts, such as emotional stories or things other than impromptu, such as interpretive reading. So just keep that in mind. So the next step for the approach to note-taking would be to think of a couple examples. So remember that the examples should be at the core of your speech. It's not the logic, unlike debate, it's the examples that's the core of an impromptu speech. So the first things we want to do is to identify that core. Think of a couple examples. It doesn't matter what examples, just remember that the examples should fit under the topic. Once you have those examples, they can either be logical examples, such as, oh, Bill Gates used to do this, or theoretical examples, imagine you were in this situation, or personal stories, I once did something. So there can be any of those examples, just think of a couple. I like to do 2 prominent ones and perhaps some other ones scattered around. So make sure that the best ones are your prominent ones. So remember to keep them varied. You don't want them all to be logical examples. You don't want them all to be theoretical examples, and you don't want them all to be personal examples. And then you have to slot the examples, okay? So what I mean by this is once you choose a format, you kind of write it down. So at the top, you might write hook and then colon. And then you write, for example, problem and then colon. And then solution, colon. Visualization, colon. Call to action, colon. And then you slot them in like, what does this example go in best? Does it go in problem best? Does it go in solution best? Visualization? And you put it in there. And then on to the next example. Which should we put it in? Put it in that one. Or third, put it in here. So that's kind of where you used to slot it. Yeah, and then you basically fill in the rest with logic. So under the titles, then you say why, what will happen, stuff like that. So basically logic should be padding. It's padding to kind of give us some more, it's padding basically to fill in the spaces. And fill in the spaces so that you can not only speak for longer, but kind of just put pauses and a bit of a mind break between examples. So basically, that's for padding. Logic should be padding unless it's controversial, okay? Then logic becomes very important. So for example, the one I talked about, risk, then the logic, you can treat logic as almost examples. You give us 3 different points for pros, 3 different points for cons, and then you slot them in. So then logic becomes very valuable because you want to differentiate between pros and cons. So, and then we do the hook and conclusion. So I actually kind of missed a step here. It should be around the B, choosing a format and a tone, and it should also be choosing a core concept. So what is kind of the punchline of your entire speech? If the audience took away one thing from your speech, what would it be? For example, if your topic was courage, then the punchline or the core of your speech, perhaps the thesis statement of your speech would be, courage makes the world, I don't know, the courage drives the world around, or something like that. That was just like a quick one that I thought right off the top of my head. Another one for risk could be, risk has its pros and cons, but always reach for opportunities. That can be one of your cores. So just add a bit of core here. In fact, I can even use edit here. So choose a format and tone and core. And I'll move this image aside. So that's kind of it for note taking. Remember that the hook and conclusion should always be interrelated. So the hook should be one big example. The conclusion should reference back to that example and have some logic for padding. So the hook and conclusion should also always be interrelated. So that's that for note taking. Notice that I am going quite a bit faster than usual because I don't want to go overtime today. Now we can talk about the problem solution format. So the problem solution format can be abbreviated to the PS format. We have a subformat called the PSV format, the problem solution visualization format. So what is the problem solution visualization format? Well, it's very good for inspiration and persuasive. So this is kind of my go-to format, the format that kind of fits all for me. Whenever I see a topic, I always say, would it fit into the PSV format? So it's very good for inspiration and persuasive, not very good for controversial.
Excuse me.
Yes, James?
Why after the A it's I? It's like A.
No, that's Roman numerals 1. Roman numerals, right? And then 2 I's is Roman numerals 2, right?
No, I mean like A period and then I period. Like it's A period problem solution and then you go to I. Why do you have to go to I?
That's just the format, actually. If you really need to know why, if we just create like a new slide here, perhaps we can duplicate.
Wait, isn't that Roman numerals since I've seen them? This is probably like Roman numerals, right?
Yeah, it is. So, if we go here, you can see that they're always going to be numerals. So you can see they count down. So you can see that they're in Roman numerals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, this, and then it starts back from 1.
I get it.
Okay, so I'll just delete all this. It's a bit of a mess. Okay, so you guys kind of got a little preview of what we're gonna go on, but let's still go over it step by step. So it's very good for inspirational and persuasive. So basically, if we have inspiration and persuasive, you might be wondering, why not controversial? As I've told you, it's not very, you're not being on two-sided, you're not being in the middle when you're saying that something is a problem. So the PSV or the PCV, PCS solution formats will not be very good for controversial. When that's controversial, you basically want to exclusively use pros and cons. So yes, we talk about why not controversial, and then we can talk about kind of the benefits of PSV. The benefits is that it's very, very engaging, okay? So a lot of the judges, I can see that they're like, after a long day of judging, they want to kind of go home. They're not very interested in the other speeches, like the first point, second point. They just kind of doze off. But once it's a problem solution speech, it becomes so much different because they see, they identify a problem and then they want to help with the problem. And this kind of interacts with them on another level. It uses all forms of the rhetoric. So you can see why it's probably a bit more engaging, why it's a bit more interesting for the judges. It's very organized. So a lot of the topical format people who I like to see, like the first point, second point, third point, will fall in the trap that they don't really make their titles blunt enough. They don't say, oh, this is my first point, this is my second point. But for the problem solution, it's very, very obvious what you're talking about, because what the stuff you talk about in problem is basically polar opposites in solution, and it's basically a whole different idea than visualization, and it's very easy to identify the conclusion. So it's very, very organized for problem solution. If you use problem solution, guaranteed to get a high score in organization. So, it's story compatible. So the things like pros and cons might not be as story compatible as something like PSV, because things like in controversial topics like the pros and cons, you want to stay two-sided, right? And if you give a story, those are usually going to be one-sided, so you can't really use that. For the topical format, you have to find very specific stories. However, PSV very story compatible. You can use stories as much as you want. So yeah, it's very good. Stories are one of the best tools you have in Impromptu. Another one is that it's very deep. It covers a lot of aspects about something. So sometimes the topical formats can be very shallow, especially the problem solution ones. The pros and cons ones can be very shallow if it's not done very well. But PSV will be deep by itself. It will be deep when you talk about it because it's covering a lot of aspects. So the problem is like what's bad about it. Solution is how can we solve this badness. The visualization is kind of the inspiration part of your speech, and then the call to action is kind of your audience interaction on what we can do about it. So that's basically PSV and why it's deep. And our next thing about so these are the benefits about PSV. It's engaging, organized, story compatible, and deep. So you can see why I like it so much. And the other thing about PSV is about the psychology. So we have swings, not like swing sets, but kind of like mood swings. So also not the mood swings people get when they're grumpy. It's basically the problem is, so we start off with a hook, right? The hook is just there for kind of more or less at the medium level. Like they're interested, but they're not sad nor happy. When you talk about the problem, they kind of become a bit sad. Oh, that's a problem in the world. Oh, that's pretty bad. We should solve it. And then once you bring a solution, they'll be back to like the average level. Oh, there's a solution for it? That's pretty good. Then we give the visualization. It makes them even happier. Basically says, oh, if we make this solution, everything will be better. Oh, everything will be much more perfect. So they're happy. Like they have a chance to make things perfect. And the last thing you can do is to call them to action. You can be part of the solution. You can do this. And then they will be not only inspired to act, but also inspired to kind of be very happy. So you can see how it starts off from sad, then happy, then happier, then happiest. And we always want to end off at least somewhat happy, because that's like ending with a high note. Tone and mood. So this is very good compatible with tone and mood. As we can see, the tone can vary between sadness and happiness. When it's at the start, you can use a very sad tone, but you can get happier and happier and happier, and then the audience will notice that. Compare it with perhaps a topical format where you have 1 point. You'll just be average. You can be happy or sad. The second one, average. Third, average. There's not very much room for mood and tone. There's not a lot of there for swings. And we have all the rhetorics. So starting with Kairos, illustrating a solution requires a lot of, so starting with logos, or ethos. Yeah, let's start off with ethos. So starting off with ethos, you have to have a lot of knowledge to kind of come up with a solution. You have to have a lot of knowledge to illustrate what would happen, and a lot of knowledge to illustrate the problem. So that will add a lot of things to your knowledge base. Pathos. Pathos, answering a question in the chat, you can connect that to both mood and psychology. You can get very, very emotional on the problem. So, for example, if your thing was about world hunger, you can give us an example about starving children in Africa. And you can connect with the audience in another level with pathos there, with sympathy, with all those different emotions. So that's one way. And then for the solution, you can give us a static example of how one person was so hungry and then he got so much food from all these different organizations. So that would kind of raise the mood a bit. So that's also linking with pathos. And then at the end, audience interaction, that has stuff to do with pathos. Logos usually comes with organization. When you're organized, you tend to use a lot more logic. So that's one thing. So adding pathos will basically be here adding very emotional stories. Adding emotional stories is basically like there's a big problem illustrated with a sad example, and then kind of change the emotion of that from sad to happy. So that's basically how you add pathos. Try to connect with the audience a bit more, try to show a bit more emotion in your speech. So here is kind of the psychology of PSV. I illustrated it with a neat little diagram. So here's the psychology of the structure. Some of the older students may have already seen this diagram before. However, it's just like a nice review. So we have...
Go back to the last slide really quick. I need you to take like, okay, thanks.
Okay, cool, very nice. So if you guys need to take notes, wonderful. And actually, this is a good place to kind of stop and ask if anybody needs questions. Does anybody have any questions of this? Is anybody confused on anything? So I see. Okay, so there seems to be no questions, none in the chat either. So yeah, wonderful. No questions in the chat. So I assume that everybody gets everything. Everybody gets what we're talking about. Everybody gets kind of why the PSV solution is so powerful. Okay, so here's the psychology of PSV. So we have the feeling good at the top and feeling bad at the bottom. So we start off with the hook, kind of near the middle, and then we go to a problem or need. So they kind of feel not as good here, but once you kind of bring us a solution, it kind of satisfies the problem. All the problem that you illustrated can be kind of canceled out with their solution. So they're being brought back to average. And then the visualization, you can picture a world that's so much better, and you can call them to action, how they can be actually a part. So you can see how the difference between here and here, like a big gap, right? So that's what I mean by swing. So there's a swing like this, almost like a big check mark. So the real goal of speech in real life is really to call to action. So what do you want the audience to do? That's basically the entire point of the speech, right? So you can either persuade. What do you want the audience to do? You want the audience to change their mind. For a controversial one, what do they want the audience to do? You want them to notice the controversy between this thing. For a problem solution or inspiration, what do you want them to do? You want them to be inspired to take action against something. So this is kind of the format of PSV. All right, now we have PCS, problem solution, problem cause solution. Okay, so the first thing that might be a bit different here is instead of visualization.
Can you go back to the other slide real quick?
Okay, wonderful. Everybody who takes notes, nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Jeremy?
I actually never use like problem solution visualization, but instead I use like problem cause solution and then a call to action.
Okay, so I tend to like problem solution
Andy,
visualization.
can you go back to the slide before this? I forgot to take a screenshot.
Okay, that's completely fine. So, okay, back.
Why is everyone taking screenshots?
Because taking notes is a very nice way to learn. So basically,
Too lazy.
So basically, the differences between PSV and PCS will be kind of visualizing that, and kind of that we're comparing and contrasting them.
Andy, do you know why I like problem cause solution more?
Why it
Because,
works?
Because when I do call to action, I actually include visualization in there. So I say by doing this, you can make a better world, and then I say like visualization. So I kind of added in there, and I added cause. So that's kind of what I do.
Remember that adding a visualization before is better. So because it's kind of that build up, right? If we kind of have visualization and call to action in the same thing, it will kind of, instead of looking like this, it will kind of look like this, and then it flattens off, right? Because they're kind of just coagulated in the in one part.
Well, like not exactly the same, right? Like I still say visualization first and then call to action, right? Like
yes, but the order here is very important. When we have visualization before the call to action, then you can actually see how the solution might take place, and we'll kind of see that in a example speech that I'm about to give you guys. And an example, kind of real life example. So anyways, to the PCS, what is PCS? It's the problem cost solution format. And it's very good for logical topics. So PSV is very good for inspiration, but this one will be better for logical ones. So you want to explain the ins and outs for logic. So that's why we have the cause element. So the problem, we want to analyze what causes this problem, and then we want to target the cause with the solution. So it's a bit more organized, using a bit more logic. However, it can be a little bit less exciting or entertaining than a PSV.
unless if you say it really good.
Well, very good. But if you're like at the same level, if like two people are at the exact same level, PSV will still be a bit more exciting than PCS.
Well, yeah, that's a definite truth.
Mm-hmm. So the benefits is, of course, very organized. I'd say even more organized than PSV. So when you have a lot of organization, you tend to also have lots of logic. Very logical, as I just said. And it's a very firm structure. So what I call firm structures is that it's kind of it's hard to kind of argue against. So because it's very targeted, right? That's what I call firm. So you have a problem and you want to ask them what causes this problem, and then like how can we solve this? You want to target the solution for them. So it's like kind of interconnected, just like PSV. And it's very firm. Right. But kind of a risk of PCS is that some people may not agree with your cause. So they think, this problem is caused by something else. You're kind of wrong on that. So this is why I tend to not like PCS. For example, world hunger. So it gets kind of iffy when you get the cause. What causes world hunger? So you might say lack of education, but someone else might say, for example, just bad government. So it's very controversial for those topics when you want to illustrate with cause. So be kind of careful with that.
Andy?
Yes?
Can you just say like there's like many causes for this, but like I'm just going to say a few for now and just to say a few, right?
Yeah, that can work. Yeah, that can work. Just say that there are many causes from this, but I'm just focusing on one. Yeah, so that's a pretty good thing if you really want to use PCS. So like psychology, it's very informative. They get all the knowledge that they need. They get all the knowledge to kind of make links by themselves. It's very structured and logical, and that it's hard to argue against. It's very good for things about persuasion, and yeah, that's basically all for psychology. So here's like kind of a PCS PSV
Can you go
example.
back a slide?
Okay, wonderful. If you want to all take notes. Again, this is a good place to kind of ask any questions. So if you have any questions, you can either say them in chat or...
I want to ask a question. Why do you represent the next slide with like a newer mattress and an older mattress?
I'll get to that a bit later. So doesn't look like anybody has any questions, so hopefully that slide has been taken down.
Sorry, can you just quickly go back to the last slide?
Okay, sure. Wonderful. Taking notes is a wonderful way to learn. Oopsie. Ugh. Okay.
Thanks, I'm done.
Okay, so sorry, I actually kind of accidentally modified. Oh,
Gosh,
sorry.
how much participants are there?
There is quite a lot of participants today. So yeah, I'll start share screening again. Sharing my screen, not share screening. So I'll present this. So now we get like a real example of problem solution in PSV. So the real life use of a structure, trying to sell a mattress to a customer. So we have a mattress here and a mattress there, different types. Just different just different pictures of mattresses. Yeah. So the hook, like a shocking fact, about 3,000 hours per year in sleep. So every year you spend 3,000 years. And if we do a bit of quick math here, so 3,000 divided by 24, that's around 125 days every year spent in sleep. So that can be like a very shocking fact that you can add for your hook. So the problem is that people do not have good sleep. People have insomnia. They can't fall asleep, which means that it affects their mood, their health. It affects their work effectiveness. So basically, make sure that not only you identify the problem, also kind of give us what will happen if what is a consequence of the problem. So the problem here is the lack of good sleep, and some consequences is the mood, of health, work effectiveness. And the solution is a new and better mattress. Whoopsie daisy. And the visualization is like picture it. So you want to picture the solution for them. You get a new mattress, you get better sleep, you are better, you have better mood, you have better health, and more effective work. Now, and then at the end, yes, buy the mattress. So now you can kind of see, well, it's not as good to kind of put call to action and visualization together. So this is kind of give us a little bit of a build up, right? And also if we kind of insert a cause in here, sure, it's more logical, but it's not as static as this. So picture it, stuff like that. So that's kind of my kind of a good example of PCS or PSV. Using PCS instead of PSV here, so we have a hook, problem, and then cause. What causes the lack of good sleep? You can say a new bad mattress, and the solution is a new mattress. So you can see that the solution and the cause sometimes overlaps a bit. So that's also kind of something you want to avoid. So that's why I just kind of stick to PSV. If you guys really do have a logical topic, you can use PCS if you want, but overall PSV is just my go-to.
Wait, I kind of don't understand. You said the problem's the lack of good sleep, but then the solution is a new mattress. Why do you need a new mattress? Couldn't it be just sleeping habits?
Right.
No, I think mattress actually does affect your sleep.
Yeah, like a bad one and a good one, it is different.
Could be because of your pillow.
Yeah. But you want to say in the solution why it would give you more good sleep. So that's kind of one part for solution, where kind of the logic there, what I call padding, should kind of explain. And then the visualization and the call to action. Okay, whoops, you actually saw the topics. Pretend you never saw that. So we have our demonstration, and my demonstration is going to be on teamwork.
Hooray!
So, I know that for the old class, some of you guys might have used this topic, but I just got this randomly, so anyways, I'll be doing my speech today. So I'll be kind of flipping to my stopwatch now, my online timer. I'll be maximizing my video. Hello. So pinning it so it's good enough for everyone to see. Very good. All right. So, all right. So I can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oops. One time for a school project, I had to research who invented the internet. The result of this search shocked me. When I searched it up, I was expecting one inventor. And when I searched it up, instead, I found inventors. And when I dug even deeper, the inventor became even more ambiguous and a thing that was not valuable. Because when we look towards the back of the internet, we see the development of the first computer. We see all of the different researchers and scientists that added and upgraded onto the computer. We saw the man who sparked the idea of the internet. And we saw the addition of countless people to make the internet as it is today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andy, and today my topic is teamwork. The internet is one of the greatest inventions, and the fact that it was all made with a teamwork of almost hundreds of people really illustrates that teamwork is a road to progression. However, when we look at the outside world today, we don't see as much progression. When we verse it towards when we verse today, if we compare and contrast the worlds of today to perhaps the Industrial Revolution, we can see that our progress is slowing down. And what I think is the case of this, what I think will happen, what the problem is that there's no teamwork among us. And this is best illustrated with an example. I took a robotics club a couple of years ago. And during that time of the club, we had two teams. Our team had a fully functional robot and a fully functional part and a fully functional competition. However, the other team had a piece of stuck on metal that had many problems, couldn't even roll if it wanted to, and it could not participate in a competition. So I asked myself, how did we do so well? How did we build a robot? I inspected the other team's members. They were very smart people. They were very talented. They were very hardworking. However, they did not work together. They had no collaboration. They had infighting. They canceled each other out. And if we apply this to society, if we don't have any teamwork, we see that there's no collaboration at all. We see that there's infighting between very capable people. We see that the talents of one person cancel the talents out of the other. At worst, it can be detrimental without any teamwork. But at best, it's only the contribution of one person. And the big problem is, without teamwork, there is no progression. However, ladies and gentlemen, there is a solution. And this is best illustrated with a great example. Starbucks was a small company once. And Starbucks, when it only had around tens or maybe hundreds of stores, and not global yet, the CEO was Mr. Schultz. There was no communication between levels of the company. The employees did not work well, and they had bad customer service. However, when Mr. Bihar came to become new CEO, employees' needs and consolidation became better, and they inspired to serve better, and communication gained much better. And we saw the step from a little company to a huge company. And we saw that the key was in teamwork. So ladies and gentlemen, we are stronger as a team. We are smarter as a team. We are more confident as a team. We are more happy working as a team, and we're more influencing as a team. We have more innovation in the world if we work together. We'll have more talented people in the world if we work together. And last of all, if we all work together, progression in the world will be much faster. Ladies and gentlemen, when I searched up the internet, I realized that perhaps the one inventor wasn't enough, but perhaps it was all of us. You, me, all of us are contributors to a huge part of the internet. So ladies and gentlemen, build a team, join a team, and work as a team. Thank you. All right, so I did go a little bit over time there, so that's one thing that I kind of need to pay attention to. Right now we are not fighting to go first, second, or third because we have something to show you guys. So now that I have all of this, I can show you kind of the behind the scenes process of how I took these notes and what I did. So if you guys would like, I'll start sharing my screen again.
Andy, can we fight over it afterwards?
Okay. Okay, there we go. I'll share this. So, whoops, there's a picture of a trapezoid here. Anyways, so I'll kind of show you guys what I kind of did. So remember that our first step in Impromptu was to, so if we go back to the slide, we can see that the first step to making good notes is to identify the topic as inspirational, persuasive, or controversial. So we have our topic of teamwork. Oops, I'll switch to a better kind of pen. Teamwork. Oh, why is that so thick? Whoops. Let's try this. That's still a bit thick. I'll switch it to that. Okay, so we have a topic of teamwork. Okay, so the first thing we have to identify is kind of the goal. What is the goal of our speech today? And I'd say that our goal for today is to inspire. Okay? So our first step is completed, which is our identify the topic as inspirational, persuasive, or controversial. The second one is to choose a format, tone, and core. So the tone is embedded. So that means it's going to be kind of varied along with the topic, the format. So when the topic is sad, it will be sad. When the topic is happy, it will be happy. And also, while you're writing this, it doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to have the right spelling because it's only for you. Then we have a core. Okay, and mine will be. I think I use teamwork drives progression.
No, I think it was like without teamwork, there's no progression.
Right. However, we can always say it in different ways. So this should be the core. We can always say it in different ways. So you can say no teamwork means no progression, or teamwork drives progression, or progression requires teamwork. They all mean the same thing. You can just put one as the core. So then we have the format. We chose a format, and that was going to be the PSV format. So we have the P, the problem, the solution, and we also have, if I drag this down a little bit, our visualization. And if I kind of drag this down, we always have to remember, I kind of overlooked this. Oops. Okay, dragging this down a little bit. We should always have a hook at the start. And then at the end, we kind of have our call to action. I like to abbreviate as call act. And once we have this, we can start having our next step, which is to think of a couple of examples. So normally on this, you would have paper, but the examples that I used today was robotics club. We have, for example,
Did you actually practice in like the robotics club?
Yes. And then we have the Starbucks example. So these are going to be the core ones. And then once we have the smaller ones, we have a theoretical ones on what would happen if there's no teamwork. For the theoretical ones, I would put a question mark, so that makes it theoretical. And then I also have another theoretical one. So this would be personal, this would be logical, this would be theoretical. And then we would have the internet example, which is sort of prominent, but not as.
Andy,
Yes?
you wrote teamwork, not teamwork.
Yes. Remember that our notes don't have to be perfect, so I'm going to do this quick. So we don't even have to bother correcting our spelling mistakes because this is only going to be for you. So then we can kind of slot them inside, right? So we can kind of put, for example, so what I put was the internet as our hook, so we can put this one here. Ugh, missed one. Put one here. We can put, for example, the robotics club in the problem. Oh my. In paper, this would be a bit faster, but since I'm showing my screen. And then we can put the Starbucks as the solution. So that would illustrate a solution. For problem, I think this one would also go here. So yeah, that's all of our examples slotted in, and then we have to fill in the rest with logic or formatting stuff. So we can fill in the hook with, well, the hook is usually just one example, so we can leave that alone for now. The problem, we can say that problem will cause no collaboration. It will cause infighting. It will cause, at worst, it will have 0 or negative, and best, it will have the contribution of 1 person. So for the solution, we can say why. So you can ask yourself while you're note taking, why would it solve? Remember to give the titles. So this title would be no teamwork, the problem. For a solution, we can see work as a team. For visualization, we can put some formatting down. We can say we are stronger as a team. We are smarter. We are confident. We are powerful. And we are happy and influencing. And remember that we always put core like between the 2 titles, but that is something implied. And then we can also have, if we do this, talent in the world and innovation. And of course, our core, which is progression. And last of all, call to action. Back to the internet part. So that's kind of our link. So you are a contributor. And then the call to action is build a team, join a team, and work as a team. So this is kind of just how I would do it. So remember that it's kind of more of a speedy thing. So this would basically look almost exactly like the notes that I took today while I give you the demonstration. Hopefully you guys also did this. Notice how I didn't write anything word for word. If I did this like on myself without explaining, I think it would be fit within the 5-minute time range. And if we just kind of compact everything a bit up. So here, put it here, here, put it here. We put this over here, put this over, whoops. I'm really bad at selecting things, apparently.
What?
Okay, we put this here, here, and we put here, over here. And we kind of put here, over here, and let's put this over here. So this is kind of the entire thing. This should be written on your paper. So that's how I would take notes, kind of following our steps. Do we have any questions so far? So you guys kind of saw the inner workings.
That's long.
That is quite long.
From what? Well, if I will take notes, mine is like, I don't know, 1 out of 3 of that, like 30%
Right.
of that.
But remember, if you have time, remember to fill it up. I usually time myself quite a lot. I can write all of this within 5 minutes because it's like a very structured kind of thing. So hopefully this just kind of gives you a bit more of insight. You guys can take a screenshot if you really want to.
Andy.
Yes.
For after you do all of this, write it down. Should you practice a few times after? Do you recommend that?
There wouldn't be time, would there?
Right, because impromptu, you only get 5 minutes to prepare. So you make one note, you only say it once. However, if you guys want to get good at impromptu, I would recommend you guys to practice. Yeah. Anyways, we only have 20 minutes left for your guys' speeches. So we'll kind of limit it to kind of only around 4 speakers today.
Andy, can I go first? I'm Jeremy.
And I want to go second.
Can I go third?
Can I go fourth?
Can I go fifth?
Can I go third?
This time?
Go third.
Okay, so
Can I go third?
I
okay,
want to
so
go third first.
Can I go last?
remember
Can I go fifth?
that we have
Okay. Can I just
I
go
want to
last?
go last.
Can I go
Can I
third?
go forward?
Can I go
Can I go third?
Can I go
Fifth?
Can I go third?
okay.
Can I go sixth?
Okay, so that was a little bit hectic. So this always gets a little bit hectic. So remember that we only have 4 people speaking today. And I think that the first person who wanted to go was Jeremy, and then I think I heard Luke wanted to go second. I think Sarah wanted to go third, and then Raymond also wanted to go third, so I'll put Raymond as 4th. So unfortunately, since we don't want to go overtime today, so our 4
I haven't
speakers.
spoken in a while.
Yeah, so next class I'll be sure to kind of make sure that the people who aren't gonna suck in a lot will get a chance to speak.
Said that last time.
Yeah, I did, but because today was more of a special class, we kind of.
Can I go sixth?
Remember that we are only having 4 people speak today because we don't want to go overtime.
Okay.
So I'll start sharing my screen for the kind of the practice things. So as always,
Can you send us the people who's speaking today?
okay. So, I'll send it, and while I'm sending it, the people who want to speak today, you guys can make up your minds about your format, and remember to also have kind of a backup one. So, yeah.
Andy, I just want to ask, what do you think?
Am I going?
I'll send it in chat.
Andy, I just want to ask, which one do you think is the maybe 2 hardest topics here?
Whoops, it was private chatted. Whoops, it's not responding. Okay. Okay, and last of all, we have Raymond. Okay, so so this is the people who are going today in order from first to last. So Jeremy, what topic would you like today?
First, I want to ask, what do you think is like the two hardest topics here?
Depends on who's speaking. All of them can be hard for different people, so I just choose by yourself.
No, I just want to ask you.
Like,
What do you think is hard? Like you.
Let's try something different, maybe.
yeah, just try something different.
I just want to ask you, please, Andy, just say something.
Okay. I think the hardest one here would be I tend to not like really broad topics, so I wouldn't really like beliefs. Okay, so Jeremy, which topic would you like?
I choose when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful.
Okay, sure. Okay, Luke, which topic would you like? Luke? Do we have Luke here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so, Luke, have you figured out which topic?
Maybe time management.
Okay. Okay, just typing that in.
Wait, Andy, only 4 people are going, right? Oh,
Yes.
wait.
I sent it in chat.
I just realized one thing.
Okay, Luke, which topic would you like again?
Time
management.
All right, okay. Sarah, which one would you like?
First, if I have a question. Can I also do number 6?
Number 6? Sure, because we only have 4 speakers today. And last of all, Raymond, which one would you like?
Can I have language skills?
Language skills, okay. And because this is more of like a lesson class, the people who aren't speaking today, fear not, we always have the practice classes. So yeah, I'll give you all 5 minutes to kind of speak. To prepare to speak. Yeah, and starting now, everybody else can treat this as a break.
And the disabled chat is going over 100.
Yeah, why yawning?
Less than like 3 minutes time, and it's over 130.
Yeah, remember guys, one of the rules is just to stay civilized in chat.
There's over 100 messages in
Yes.
there. Guys, stop spamming.
Yeah, like try not to
Really yawning. You probably died by now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Hudson, Aubrey, a lot of different people are advocating to turn off chat. So I will do host only chat. And we will yeah. There. So unfortunately, this means that next time I will be unable to turn on chat because the privilege is kinda misused this time. But next time, hopefully you guys can kind of regain it by staying a bit more civilized. But anyways, we are nearing the end.
I do
So,
not like that. Because of the chat, I missed 30 seconds of my preparing time.
Yeah. Alrighty. So that is basically our time for preparation. So our first speaker for today is Jeremy. So
Okay, Andy. Wait, Andy, first, can I show you something, please?
sure, if you really want to.
Okay, sure, I'll show you this. You said about note taking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, first I'll just open my camera. Notes.
Okay, pretty good notes.
I try to take as much as I can, really.
Huh. Okay.
Wait, let me just change my background to the Harry Potter thing. Okay.
Okay, so Jeremy, you can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Once I realized that in my group project, nobody is listening to me. I want to know why. So after that, I decided that maybe I was just useless. So I decided to not speak. When I did not speak, the group still went on. When I had extremely good ideas, I pointed them out. Everyone listened to me. And then I spoke more. But then everyone listened less. I do not know why that is. Maybe sometimes they just like me, sometimes they just not. But then I kind of realized something. When you speak a lot, nobody really wants to listen to you. When you speak less people listen more. And that's one of the mistakes that I'm trying to fix. I realize that when I speak less, people will listen to my ideas more. They will trust me more. But when I speak more, like a lot more, people won't even care about me, won't even listen. So I decided to apply that. And from that time on, I realized that you should either speak less or speak up. And when you're doing that, when nobody suggests anything and you speak up, you can be the most powerful. Hello, my name is Jeremy, and today my topic will be when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. You can interpret this in actually two ways. One is when the world is noisy, you speak less. And second is when the world is silent, you speak more. There's a problem really in this world. People speak less either or just speak too much. They don't even participate, or they just never they don't participate or just speaks too much and no one ever listens to them. This happens before in my robotics club. One person never spoke. His name was Joel. He was one of my good friends. I played basketball with him. He rarely spoke. There's also another guy in this club. He spoke a lot. When Joel and that person went against each other, Joel, my friend, won because he spoke less and the other people think you're better. So it's from what my mom so basically speak less, people more wants to listen to you, right? The solution basically to this problem of people speaking less or speaking too much is just speak more, or maybe just speak less, depending. If you speak less, speak more. If you speak more, speak less. Once my mom told me this. If you sleep, when you're saying things, it's like money. When you sleep less, it's rarer and people will want it more. If you speak more, it will be just like pebbles. There's it everywhere. Nobody will even want it. The more less you speak, the more wise you seem to get, and the more, value your, voice or speaking gets. From the example, the world is all silent. One voice, even a homeless person, could be so powerful because imagine this, no one cares about this idea, and somebody cares, and somebody speaks up for it. It will become so powerful that everyone will listen to it, and that voice can change the entire world. When the world listens to you and you speak less, it's a better thing. Imagine this. When people don't listen to you, they actually do listen to you. And what you say values. They need you. They need you to participate in this team idea. Everyone will get happier. You will get happier. What? Okay. Anyways, you will get happier and other person will get happier. The world will be a better place. Guys, sometimes speak less when everyone's noisy and tell them to stop and think. But sometimes when no one's speaking, be the first. Be the first to speak. I encourage you to speak up. Everyone will listen to you. Your voice will become the most powerful in the entire group. Even if in the entire grade no one speaks, you speak up about that thing, they will follow you. You can be powerful. Before bed tonight, think about speaking up or speaking less, how you could do it to change it. Thank you.
Okay, terrific speech. So, great use of the problem solution format. Very good examples. Loved how it was quite logical. Yeah, I'll keep the feedback a little bit shorter because we are running very long time. So yeah, very good examples, very good organization. Loved it. So yeah, overall terrific speech. Just one thing that you can work on for this time would basically be perhaps a little bit more of ethos. Try to kind of establish that thing at the start, saying that you know what happens when people are silent and you speak, or versus that. So I like how at the end you kind of gave us that knowledge base, but I feel like it would be a bit easier to start it off right from off the bat at the start, so you perhaps could use a hook story that kind of illustrates your knowledge base. But overall, though, I think they did very well. Very good organization, very good examples, very great understanding of the problem solution format. So overall, terrific work. Yeah, keep up the magnificent job. All right, our second speaker for today is Luke with time management. So, Luke, you can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
So once, maybe 1 year ago at school, I had no time management at all. I would get home and probably either sit down and do nothing or just sleep immediately and just eat dinner, then sleep. And this was not good on my schooling in my school because since I didn't manage any of my time, when the test came, like 1 month later, I didn't even know anything. So when I tried to do the test, I didn't prepare anything. I got a bad grade. And since I got a bad grade, that made me next time to prepare more and manage my time better. And then guess what? Next time I did better because since I managed my time, I got home, did my homework before I ate dinner. Then after dinner, I might do even more homework until I slept. And since I managed my time, I got a good score. So, hello everybody, my name is Luke, and today my topic is why time management is important. So, the problem is that people don't manage their time at all. They might come home sometimes, sleep, the next day they have more stuff to do, and then they might sleep again or do something else that's not related to the thing they're supposed to do. And this is not good because think about it. You're going back home and then you sit down. You just sit down there. Maybe watch something you're not supposed to, play something and don't do your homework. And then when like the test comes, you don't know anything. So you can't really do good on it. Once I had a friend named Jaden, okay? Jaden one time screwed up quite a lot, okay? What he did was, when he got home, he played. He didn't do any homework, but he just played, okay? And when he played, he didn't have any time to read his books, his studying, and yeah, great. So he doesn't have any time to do anything else that's important, like studying. And when he doesn't study, when he had to hand in his homework, the thing is that he didn't even have any homework because he didn't do it. He just didn't do it at all. For the entire week, he forgot to do it. Think about it. You have 24 hours. You get to choose to do sleeping. You have to do lots of things in your day. But if you sort of, I guess, make the time in your day unorganized and some much more than others. For example, if you sleep, let's say 14 hours a day, okay? And then you only have few hours to do anything else. You have to eat and then do everything else. So you have to sort of organize all of this stuff. But if you can't organize all of this, like these like things you have to do, you can't really do that well in your school and study. But there's always a solution. What you could do is manage your time, make a calendar maybe, and try to put it right in your head. Because if you know that you're going to sleep a certain amount of time, set up an alarm clock, eat at a certain time, and if you do this every single day, if your schedule is good, you could do really good in school and other stuff. And if you could also do ahead of things, so that like ahead of like your homework, so that if you accidentally like miss your schedule for some reason, you don't have to do it still. So one time, a few weeks ago, okay, I was lazy, really lazy. I didn't do anything, and I gathered up so much homework that at the end of the week I had like 50 pages of homework to do. And then I couldn't do it all until I actually managed my time. So if we implement the solution, I could picture more people being successful at school, I guess, and they could be smarter, and then they could reach their jobs better. So manage your time. Thank you for listening.
Again, very good speech. So, starting off with things that you did very well. I like how you understood the problem solution format very well. You used the different types of psychology and benefits of the problem solution format to your advantage. So, excellent work there. because of that, you had a wonderful organization, wonderful logics, and wonderful examples. Just a few things that I think that you can work on would be kind of to restrain the use of filler words. So I think that you don't use as much, but kind of restrain it from being too casual, like saying okay or something like that. I know it can be a little bit habitual, perhaps making it a little bit more casual as like a strategy. However, some of the judges will look down upon some of those filler words. But otherwise, though, really good understanding of today's lesson, and overall terrific speech. Excellent work. Okay, our next speaker for today will be Sarah with Malala's quote. So when I click start, Sarah, you can.
We went over time again.
Yes. So Sarah, you can turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and you can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
A few days ago, I read this book. It was called I Am Malala, How One Girl Stood Up for Education and Changed the World. In this story, it is about how a girl named Malala, is talking about her life when suddenly the Taliban starts destroying schools, saying that girls should not get education. Malala decides that this is wrong, and she decides that she will stand up for girls' rights for education. Even though she was threatened by the Taliban to stop, she did not. She decided to speak out for girls' education. Hello, my name is Sarah, and today I will be talking about when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. One thing that worries me is that many people, they do not speak out. And the reason they do this is because they worry about their security, their safety. They're worried about being hurt, and they're worried about screwing up their reputation. So how can we encourage others to speak up? One way to encourage others is having a bigger vision. Think beyond yourself, just like Malala. She did not just pray for her house to have education and be safe. She prayed for her whole town, for all countries, for the whole world. And this reminds me of one day when I had a math class. One day I was at a math class, and then the teacher asked if anyone had any questions. No one said because they didn't want to, but everyone had lots of questions. And I decided that I would ask along because it was very uncomfortable sitting in just a quiet place. So I raised my hand. I asked the teacher that I didn't understand this question, if I could have some help. And so he helped me. And the other kids decided, well, if this kid can do it, then why not us? So they decided to raise their hands one by one. And soon all of them raised their hands if they had a question. So this is why you should always have a bigger vision. Another way to encourage others is to ask yourself, what is the right way to do this thing? Just like Malala said. She said, if other girls and boys in other countries can get their education, then why not Pakistan? And so she decided that is what led her to saying girls should get their education. Yes, she was threatened by the Taliban saying, if you don't stop, we will kill you. She didn't really care about that. She pushed it out of her head and kept going towards how girls and boys should get their education. So ladies and gentlemen, always ask yourself, what is the right thing to do? And always ask yourself, when should I increase my vision? And soon, Malala's voice was heard all around the world. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you, from starting tomorrow. Start having a bigger vision, and start asking yourself, is this the right thing to do? Am I supposed to be doing this? So this way, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes very powerful. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Sarah，你看是3、4、5、6，你看3、4、5、6。
Okay, so while you guys are not speaking, please mute your mics. So excellent speech, Sarah. Very well done. So I really love that you used the problem solution to its fullest extent. Loved how you gave us one of the most prominent examples I've seen, which is Malala and how she kind of stood up. So I really loved how you did this because there was like a bunch of different things that you could have said, a bunch of different things that could have flooded with logic. However, I liked how you kind of instead of that, gave us like a big, prominent, very interesting example of Malala, and you kind of related it back to your personal life because of you reading the book. It's almost like a logical example with kind of the Malala as a real person. So wonderful work on that. So it's almost like a logical personal example, which is very interesting, very unique, excellent work. So loved your organization, loved your examples, loved your pathos. You had very good tone throughout your speech. Loved your ethos. You established your knowledge base right off the bat. Excellent. So just a few things I'd like to kind of point out to do better next time would basically be kind of the background information for the example. So because some kids might not know what the Taliban is, or some people who don't know who Malala really is. So to just kind of give us some of that background information next time. But overall, extremely good speech. Terrific example, terrific organization. Overall, outstanding work. Keep up the great job. Okay, so our last speaker for today will be Raymond with language skills. So Raymond, if you want to turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and you can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
I would like to begin by telling a story. So one time, I went to China and I did not understand. When we went to a restaurant a few years back, we went to a restaurant and somebody asked for my order. And I didn't understand much, so I needed help ordering. I can't even describe how embarrassed, because nobody understood me and I felt disrespectful. I was embarrassed because I can't speak my home language in my home country. Later, when I went back to our hotel, I decided to learn Chinese and improve my language skills. Today, I will tell you how you can learn and use language skills. Hello, my name is Raymond, and I'm talking about language skills. Now, what are language skills? Language skills are things used to communicate between different people of different cultures. Knowing a language will help you a lot. For example, something like sign language will help you communicate with a deaf person. Language skills are something you need to have to go anywhere, really. Now, why language skills are so important and beneficial? Hawaii, France, and Italy all have something in common. They are all popular vacation destinations, but they also have something else in common. They all have their own specific language. If you were to visit any of these countries, you need to know simple words in that language, such as hello and bye-bye. This is just one of the examples on why you need language skills. Furthermore, when you take time to learn the language, it shows extreme respect for the people and the country. If someone came to Canada and went into Tim Hortons and made no effort to understand or try to order something, the people in the Tim Hortons would feel disrespectful that somebody would not even try to learn the language that they spoke. Another reason why languages are important is because you will learn new patterns in other countries' languages, and you'll find out more about the people's culture, thus making you a more well-rounded and a better person. Another example of why language skills are important. If you have a business, you'll need to make a deal with foreign clients. If you know their language, you will foster more personal relationships with the people solidifying your business. Now, how can I improve my language skills? Practice over and over, and eventually you will notice you have gotten better. Language learning apps are very helpful to help you learn a new language. A teacher will also help you very well. Interacting with people who speak different languages, because you'll improve, because they'll point out your mistakes and you'll be more immersed in the language you are trying to learn. Pay attention and don't just move your hand and concentrate on what you're doing. After a while, I improved my Chinese and I could order food in a Chinese restaurant. Ladies and gentlemen, my name was Raymond, and those are my 3 topics about language skills and why they're important. How I can improve my language skills, and what language skills are.
All right, very, very good speech. So, kind of starting off with the things that you did good. I like how you're very logical in this speech. So, in turn, you had very good logos, very good logic. You explained kind of the ins and outs of the language skills. You had very good logos. You explained why everything was. There was no jumps in logic. You had very good ethos, starting off with that hook about kind of your kind of personal experience with kind of language skills. So kind of implementing your knowledge base straight off the bat. Very good with that. Yeah, overall, pretty good speech. Really liked your organization with your topical format. Very liked your logic, liked your example. Yeah, very good. Just like one thing that you can work on though is kind of diversifying what examples you use. Today you use one very prominent example of your experience with language skills, for example, in a Chinese restaurant, right? What I would recommend for next time would basically be not only do that, but also kind of give us some logical examples. Were there anything in history where something got miscommunicated and something big, bad happened? Or was there what would happen if you put somebody with bad language skills versus a person with good language skills, compare and contrast, something like that. But overall, very, very good speech and excellent job. Keep up the outstanding work. Okay, so so that was our last speech for today. Thank you guys all for participating. Unfortunately, we also went over time today again. However, next time I'll try to update our time management, such as Luke's topic. Yeah, so thank you all guys for coming today, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks and goodbye.
Bye.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.